Hare Krishna. Welcome back to the Value Education and Spirituality series. We are discussing about the Ramayana. We will discuss about Bharat, how he demonstrates the principle of stick to integrity even amidst opportunity for immorality. It is very easy to talk about how one should be incorruptible, one should be principled, one should be fair-minded, when one is just protesting against the unfairness or corruptness of others. But actually, when one is put in a situation where one has the opportunity to be corrupt and to get away with it also, then to maintain integrity is an extremely difficult challenge. And if one maintains integrity at that time, then it is a great testimony to one's character. That is true integrity indeed. So, Bharat was out of Ayodhya. At the time he was visiting a relative, another king, at the time when the nightmare of Ram being exiled, Dashrath succumbing to the heartbreak, and the whole kingdom reeling under the double grief of their beloved prince being exiled and their beloved king being dying. So Bharat got some nightmares at that time when he was at his relative's place, and then he got the summons, please come back immediately, and he rushed back. He had a huge army, contingent of soldiers and carriages of gifts with him, but he just left them all behind and charged ahead on his horse with just a few trusted assistants. And then when he entered Ayodhya, he found Ayodhya had been reduced to like a ghost town, and practically nobody would meet his eyes. And now he had expected his father would be there waiting for him. His father was not there at all. And naturally, he went to his mother's chambers. And when he went there, his mother, "Oh Bharat, you have come back." She welcomed him. And he saw his mother attired in a peculiar garb. He started getting premonitions at that time. He asked, he said, "Where is my father? Why is the whole kingdom so gloomy?" And when Kai told him, he was shocked. So what have you done? He said, "How can you possibly think that I would take a kingdom that is entitled for my brother? And how can I take the kingdom at the cost of not just my brother's exile, but at my father's death? So I will never let this happen. I will never let this happen. What have you done, oh mother? I feel ashamed to call you as my mother." And he just walked away, leaving Kai stunned. He said, "Bharat, I did all this for you." He says, "How could you ever have thought that I would be pleased by such a thing?" He says, "You have sunk me into an ocean of shame, and you have sunk the whole city, whole Ayodhya, into an ocean of grief. Can you not see, oh mother, what you have done?" And Bharat walked away in horror, in disgust, in shame. Now, here, Bharat's integrity first comes into the picture. He could very well have grabbed the opportunity, and later on he could have rationalized. He said, "I did not do anything. Oh, the king had passed away, Ram is sore as the forest. I am simply doing my duty. Isn't it my duty as the only prince in the royal family now? That eldest prince in the royal family available for ruling, that I take up the kingdom?" He could have justified, rationalized, whatever he wanted to. And the word rationalize means to come up with false reasoning to make the wrong thing seem right. So that's why rationalize. The spelling is R-A-T-I-O-N-A-L-I-Z-E, but it can also be spelled as rational lies. R-A-T-I-O-N-A-L-L-I-E-S. Rational lies. So the point here is that actually he could very easily have rationalized accepting the kingdom. So today people are so greedy for power. We have in the Indian history the example of Aurangzeb. He killed his elder brother Dara Shikoh, and he imprisoned his father and he grabbed the kingdom. For Lakshman, everything was done. The father was dead and the brother was out in the forest. The kingdom had come as if for a platter, and he would have feigned innocence. My mother did it, I didn't do anything. And anyway, I didn't want the kingdom, but it has come. He could have rationalized it. But Bharat did not do that. He strongly disapproved what his mother did, and he immediately set out to correct the wrong, which he had not done, but which had been done in his name. So actually, for all of us, we will also face sooner or later situations when corruption and lack of integrity and immorality can be at various levels. At a most extreme level is one becomes utterly insensitive and knowingly hurts others for one's selfish gains. A person, say there is nowadays when natural calamities happen, the government often gives relief funds. Now there are government officials who can see there are people who are homeless, people who are starving, people who had respectable lives before the calamity are now destitute. Now often after natural calamities, the extent of suffering is heartbreaking, and the government officials can see it with their eyes, but sometimes they are so corrupt that the money which is given for relief, that goes off into their own pockets, and people get very little of the money. So that is when one knows that people are being hurt and still one does the activity which is going to hurt them, one does corruption at that level. So that is actually very culpable form of corruption. The other is there is a whole chain, and one says that okay, if I am not a part of the chain, then anyway the chain is going to go on, and the others in the chain may hurt me also. They may victimize me. So that let me keep quiet, and I will not actively be corrupt, but I will just passively be a part of whatever is happening. Now that also of course is undesirable. But this, what Bharat was doing was actually, he is definitely not actively being corrupt or exploitative, trying to seek the property from others, seek the property of his brother. But he even refused to be a passive part of the chain. Actually, for him to reject his own mother, whose breast milk he had drunk, who had loved him since he was a small infant, not easy. But he knew that no matter how much he loved his mother, still his mother had done a terrible wrong. And because she had done a terrible wrong, it needed to be corrected. And he worked to correct it, worked tirelessly. So this is the example that Bharata gives. First thing is, he refuses to be a passive participant in a chain of corruption and injustice. Not only does he refuse to be a passive participant, he actually becomes an active agent of change and correction. So he immediately arranges for the funeral ceremony with full state honors for his deceased father. And as soon as his duty is over, then what does he do? Well, actually, at that time, as Dashrath and as Bharat and Shatrughan are returning after the funeral ceremony, at that time, Bharat is interviewed accosted by some state officials for some state business, and starts talking, and Shatrughan keeps returning back to the palace. And that time he sees Manthara over there, and Manthara is bedecked with all jewels. Now, in the intervening period, after Ram had been exiled and before Bharat came back, Kaikeyi had been celebrating. oh, now my son is going to become the king. And her celebration, she was expressing, in her celebration she gave a lot of gifts to Kaikeyi also. So Kaikeyi gave gifts to Manthara also. So Manthara was dressed very opulently. And when Shatrugna saw her, he rushed up to her and she screeched and tried to run. But Shatrugna ran and caught her and was running to catch her, and as she ran into Kaikeyi's palace for rescue, and the palace guard caught her and he brought her dragging in front of Shatrugna. He says, catch her and punish her. She is the cause of the tsunami of sorrow that has inundated Ayodhya. Punish her now. And Shatrugna caught her and started shaking her violently. And Manthara screamed to Kaikeyi, help! And Kaikeyi came running out. See, Shatrugna stopped. Shatrugna was so furious. He paid no attention to Kaikeyi. At that time, Bharat came walking over there. And Kaikeyi immediately called out to Bharat. Actually, Bharat was her son. Shatrugna was the stepson. He said, Bharat, tell Shatrugna to stop. So Bharat looked at Kaikeyi and he said, I feel like doing with you what Shatrugna is doing with Manthara. Kaikeyi was shocked to hear these words. But then Bharat said, Shatrugna, stop. Stop. I also feel like doing what you are doing. But if we hurt her in any way, if we hurt Manthara, if we hurt Kaikeyi, Ram will never forgive us. And our foremost concern now should be to get Ram back. We should not do anything which will displease Ram. We should conduct ourselves in a way that will inspire Ram to come back. So please let her go. Please be forgiving. So here, when we are wronged, at that time there is a tendency to lash out at those who have wronged us and punish them disproportionately, putting aside principles. So actually, a man should never raise his hand against a woman, no matter what happens. That was the Kshatriya principle. And Shatrugna was so angry, and Bharat was also angry, but Bharat controlled his anger, and the way he got his inspiration to control the anger, the strength to control the anger was by remembering his higher relationship with Ram. So actually there are times when certain low-minded people can bring out our lower side. But at that time, those of our relationship that inspire us, those people whom we respect and love, we remember them, remember our connection with them, and remember that how they will be displeased if we behave inappropriately, and therefore we check our lower side from coming out. Now, immediately, so Bharat neither succumbed to the weakness of rationalization, nor did he succumb to the weakness of self-righteous rage, but he stuck to the path of duty. And then he thought, Ram will not come back so easily. So what should I do? He said, let us, to persuade him to come back. If it is just he says, Ram is elder to me, he will not listen to my word. Therefore, he said, let us take the whole large part of the army, let us take a large part of the citizens of Ayodhya, and let us take most of the ministers, and Vashishta, you also come, Vashishta Rishi, you also come. So when all of us go together, and then Ram says that it is our collective will and request and fervent plea that he come back, then he will not refuse, then he will come back. So in this way, it was not just, Bharata was not making just a surface, a nominal, for show attempt. Sometimes we want some things to be happen in a particular way, but we want to also make an appearance. Oh, I would be happy if things happen in another way. If you got the post, it would have been better. I would have been happy if you got the post, but now I got the post, let me take it. If you want it, you can take it. I'll give it to you. Actually, Bharat did not have that sort of patronizing attitude towards his brother, nor did he want to just make a show of doing the right thing. He wanted to do everything that was in his power so that the right thing happened, and so that Ram was persuaded to accept the kingdom. And that's why he actually arranged make all the logistical arrangements for take a whole city out to the forest. It's not easy. But he did that. And when he got there, he actually, first he told Ram that Dashrath had passed, and Ram was grief struck. They offered water and did the last rites for deceased father. And then Bharat presented his request, begged to him. He said that I can no more take the kingdom, then a crow can take the mantle of the king of birds, the eagle or Garuda. So he said that you are meant to be the king and I will be your servant. Ram said that actually I appreciate your sentiment, but for me, carrying out my father's word is most important. And he said, now my father has departed, it's up to me to ensure that his words do not turn out to be false. So he has told me to stay in the forest and you to be the king. You should honor the word. So he said, but actually, now what happened at that time was, Kaikeyi also had a change of heart after all this. And Kaikeyi requested, let me also come. And Kaikeyi also came. And when Ram spoke these words, Kaikeyi said that, no Ram, it is because of me that your father made that request. I take back that request. Please come back to the kingdom. Now Ram said, no, whatever be the reason why my father gave me that instruction, that is not important for me. What is important is that he gave me that instruction. I must honor his memory by honoring his word. So Bharat was so grief struck. He said, if at all our father's word has to be honored, then yes, it will be honored. He says, I will stay in the forest in your place and you go back and rule. So at that time, Ram smiled and said, oh brother, we all have to bear the results of our own karma. We cannot disrupt the cosmic order by one person cannot take up the karma of another. Please not hurt yourself like this. So please do not insist on that which is not possible. So then when Bharat heard this, his face fell. But then again he raised his chin in determination. He said, oh brother, if you do not go back to the kingdom, then I will also not go back. I will sit here with you and I will fast. And Bharat sat down. And Ram realized, actually it's a long and fascinating conversation. I am describing it very briefly over here. So the point was, both brothers were simply trying their best to offer the kingdom to the other. So it was Ram here was the personification of duty to a father, Lakshmana was the personification of a duty to the elder brother. So Ram was motivated by love for his father and Bharat was motivated by love for his elder brother. Who would win? So would it be so when Bharat sat down like this, Ram smiled and he said to Bharat, Bharat, your love is so selfless and pure that it has conquered me. Bharat's face had become so shriveled, it blossomed. And all the assembled courtiers and citizens, they all became so happy. You want to offer me this kingdom? I accept it. Ram said. Bharat was delighted. And Ram said, I accept the kingdom that you have given me. I accept the love that you want to show to me by giving me this kingdom. But I also request you to let me express my love to my father while honoring his word. And therefore, after accepting the kingdom that you have given me, I entrust this kingdom to you. You do not want to rule the kingdom? You want me to rule the kingdom? I accept that. But then I request you that for the 14 years that my father asked me to stay in the forest, you rule the kingdom on my behalf. Bharat knew that Ram was now going to change his way. At least he had the satisfaction that Ram had accepted his request. Then he said, Oh brother, if you want me to rule on your behalf, it is your kingdom which you are entrusting to me, then give me some insignia by which the whole world will know that it is your kingdom and I am your servant. And then Lord Ram looked and smiled, and Bharat said, please give me your padukas, please give me your slippers, your wooden sandals. And Lord Ram, he took out the sandals and Bharat took them. He gave it to Bharat and Bharat took it and put it on his head. In today's world, we know that one of the biggest business magnates of India, when he passed, he was a very poor person who built one of the biggest business empires in the country. And then when he passed away, what happened to the two sons? They fought like cats and dogs. Even their mother, she had to intervene, and even she could not entirely stop the conflict. But today, if one brother gives his slippers to another brother, the other brother will take the slippers and smash them on his head only. And smash them on the elder brother's head. But what does Bharata do? Bharat took the slippers and put it on his own head, and he carried it back. So, when one shows such integrity, when we have leaders whose only motive is service, then society gets such shining examples that people in general get inspired to also live a life of service, of contribution, not of exploitation, of giving, not of taking, of benefiting others, of not just benefiting oneself. This is the supreme value of integrity amidst opportunity for immorality that Bharata demonstrates. Thank you. Hare Krishna.